smiling. Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood and Carmen J, just depending on the day. And we are so excited to have you. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I see you all coming in. So listen, I came across an article or a video and I just wanted to talk about it. The Uber CEO is catching heat after suggesting that employees should be responsive to emails on the weekend. And for a lot of people, especially Black professionals, that hits a nerve because many of us are taught to work harder just to get half as much, to be grateful for every opportunity, to not complain, to go above and beyond just to feel secure. But at what point does the extra mile feel like you are being taken advantage of? Today, we are talking about boundaries, burnout, corporate expectations, and whether the money is really worth the lifestyle that comes with. All right, I cannot have this conversation by myself. I have the best queens in the world for this conversation. I have Dr. Angeline Dean, CEO of Neurons Communiverse. I know I'm missing
Girl,
a
let
word.
me help you. Let me help you. Melanated Neurons Communiverse.
That's what I was missing, the melanated part. I won't forget it. Melanated Neurons Communiverse. That is a mouthful, but we love it. You got to still bring us that box. Dr. Felice, who's our resident therapist and our Be Big coach, and Dominique Morgan, who is a RN and real estate professional. Sis, what's going on? Y'all good today? Everybody is good? Thumbs up. Feeling good this Wednesday? All right, so let's get into this conversation. We'll just do a quick round robin before we get into the video. So I want to know from you all, have you worked at a company where you have worked around the clock, meaning and on weekends you were just always available to this job? And how long did that last? How did that make you feel? Give me an idea of what that experience was like for you when the CEOs demand that you work around the clock all the time. You're always on their beck and call. I'll start with you, Dr. Angeline. How was that experience for you, if you've done that?
I haven't. Now, I have put myself in a position where I did love a job so much that I made myself available, but I can't say it was demanded of me.
Okay. Okay. I love that. What did you do that you loved it? Loved it.
I loved it at the time when I was working in the ER and trauma center in a particular city. Yeah, I loved
I
my job.
see. Love
Mhm,
that. All right. What
mhm.
about you, Dr. Felice? Have you ever worked nights, weekends, always accessible on email? Have you done that? Have you had to do that for a company before?
So I did when I was on the help desk as technical support for the bank. There was one season where we were on call and had to be available to our clients. And then when I was in the hospital setting, it wasn't necessarily 24/7, but I worked 7 days on, 7 days off, and they were usually 12-hour days. And so that was a big chunk of my life for a long time. It's just a hard schedule to work because much of your life is at work.
Yeah.
And by the time I had the 7 days off, I was in a coma.
Yeah.
So I was literally sleeping for the first 3 days just to catch up. So that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. What about you, Dominique? Have you given your life over?
So I have not given my life over, but it was the expectation that I did. So I worked as a nurse manager for a home health company. And, you know, the nurses in the field will call all the time. The managers will call you all the time. The other managers, your peers. And so I had separate phones. So when I was off and I wasn't on call, I would turn my phone off. But that created it created issues because, I was younger, I'm an African American female. And so my peers and my staff would have an issue with it, to the point where they would call other people. And so I became like the problem child, because I was not going to be available 24 hours. When I'm off, or if I'm on vacation, I am off and I'm on vacation. But it created a toxic culture, because it's like, she's never available. We're always working. Now they will come in, they don't have to be there till 8. One of them would come in at 6 a.m. They would stay late. They always answered their phone. And I just refused to do that. But it did create, a very chaotic environment for me, because I was, she's never available. So it was my peers and my staff working against me because of the fact that I would not be available. My phone, I had separate phones. My phone was off.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something about having that balance, even, because I think growing up in this industry and working in Hollywood, that you're always kind of taught to like make sure that you're ready. So you ain't got to stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, whatever, right? And you get an opportunity and you want to show people, especially as a young girl, I wanted to show everybody that I was available and that I was capable. And so I found myself, I remember a producer, I was working with Universal on a screenplay, and literally the producer wanted so much of my time. Like, I was in Jamaica and they were like, "Did you send me the draft?" I was like, I'm like, just having me, I was working night and day in the morning. It just felt so important, right? They would call me and be like, "Well, I mean, Mario Van Peebles, that is, wants a new script." And so you got, and as I'm the writer, so I'm the one sitting and writing, and all, it just got so tiring. It was to the point where one of the producers was like, "I want you to come to my house. Like, I just want you to come and stay in my other room." I just was like, and I did it, right? I was, I don't know. I don't know why I would do that, but I moved into this lady's house essentially and worked for her around the clock. I wrote all day long. I was so tired and so exhausted. It didn't even feel fun after a while. So I had been put in a position where I wanted to prove myself and just prove that I could do it, but I would never do that ever again in my life, ever. So let's watch the video. And I just want you to see and pay attention to certain language. I just want to know what you queens think. Let's hear from the CEO of Uber and see exactly what he said. 'Cause you got to be available. Here we go. Here we go.
The company for 5.
Hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay, hold on. See, this is StreamYard is having
Here's,
some
you've moved
issues
that to
today.
8.
Okay.
Yes, and we think that's incredibly generous as it is. Listen, we want people, again, in the office. We want them working hard. The company, our company is executing really well, but we need to be at the top of our game, and that means people working together in the office.
Okay, but what about the folks who basically took the job with the understanding that they were going to be remote, and that was sort of cool with the program, and now it's shifting on them?
Yeah, I think that's tough, and we're talking with those people one-to-one, making sure that we make accommodations as can be. But that is different for people. That's a different adjustment that they have to make, and they've got to make their own choice. Do they want to come to the office? Working remotely, really important for them. The good news is, the economy's still really strong. Job market is strong, and people who work at Uber, like, they have lots of opportunities everywhere. We want them obviously to take the opportunity with us, to take the opportunity to learn. But this is a company where you have to work hard. We're not going to make excuses for that. You have to work hard together, and that's the kind of environment we're trying to build.
What's the one word that y'all heard? Any buzzwords that y'all heard that just makes me shake on the inside? Any particular phrase? Anybody?
You have to work hard.
You have to work hard. He just kept saying, because you got to work hard. You got to work hard here at Uber. It just was giving slave vibes, right? What you all didn't hear is he did say that he feels like his employees should be available to answer emails on the weekends. Obviously, that's to see in as CNSBC interview, but he was basically saying that, right, that they have to be available. They can no longer work remote. They were changing their policies from allowing, I guess after 5 years, they allowed their employees to take a sabbatical for a month, and then they could come back to work, and that sabbatical would be paid. And so now they changed that to 8. They got to be there 8 years. And of course, like, there's a lot of things happening at Uber that's changing. And the CEO was like, man, listen, y'all got to work hard. We've been giving y'all way too much leeway. So I'll ask you all, how do you feel about it? You know, let's just say you're working for a company like Uber. They come to you and say, listen, you got to answer my calls on the weekend. I pay you a huge salary, whatever that salary is. Let's say, you know, a nice 6 figures, and I want you to work, you know, I want you to work, basically be on call 7 days a week.
So I'm just going to answer the question because I have an idea of what she was going to ask. That would not work for me at all. I would immediately be looking for another job because I believe in having your work-life balance. I believe in, you know, my family is first. And so there's no way that I'm going to work for a job. You know, I have PTO, I have off days, and I'm utilizing all of that. You know, earlier in my career, when I felt like I had to prove or I had to, you know, I don't have to work like that. I'm not going to work and then you pay me pennies on the dollar. I'm not going to do that. And so it would be a hard no for me, even as a nurse. So I know a lot of nurses that work multiple jobs, you know, to make money. And to me, money is not everything when your kids are at home and somebody else is raising your children. So if it was a situation where I had to, you know, a job is requiring that of me, it would be a hard no. What's your thoughts, Dr. Felice?
So that would be a no for me too. I don't believe that you need to sell your soul in order to have a decent salary. And right now, as a therapist, people are fragile right now. They are unhinged. They are not coping. They are overwhelmed. They are stressed to the nines. It is not wise to have people available like that, or that it's not a wise decision. You want your people mentally fit and well. And part of the reason that people are unhinged is because more and more and more is being put on their plate, but they're not making sure that they're really good. Like, I have more work to do, but I'm struggling to pay my bills. I'm struggling to have ends meet, but you want me to show up more and more, and it makes no sense. And I don't even know what the emails, like, why would you have to be available to somebody on the weekends like that? And why are you creating a culture where we can demand that of people?
Yep.
And so we're going to have to take our power back, and we're going to have to let corporations know. Like, I used to go to a church that was like, look, we don't frequent anybody on Sundays. Sit with that. So, like, I had to do all my stuff on Saturday because, like, I didn't go out. What did that mean? That I honored people and my immediate and culture to say, I respect you and your time off. So I'm not going to go somewhere and demand more of you when I'm home chilling. And so Sundays, you know, I really try hard not to go into establishments and add to people's stress levels, not on a Sunday. And so we're, as a culture, are going to have to take stands like this, where we're like, nah, no. And because literally they're making us ridiculous. Like, think about us. Like, now on the weekend, if you think you have a problem with your phone, you're going to get upset if somebody don't pick up and then they don't pick up on time. Or if there's a long wait hold time, right? We get upset. We get irritable. Why? Because they created a culture of urgency where now we demand fellow humans to be at our beck and call, and it is not healthy.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And then oftentimes, like, these people that are in this positions that's requiring this is because they're not happy. You know, they have worked themselves to the point where they don't have relationships with their kids. They don't have marriages. And so they're unhappy. They're sitting at home alone. So all they're doing is working, and they expect that from you, which is crazy and unrealistic when people do have families and they have children and they want to be at home. Don't put that on me. Dr. Angeline, what are your thoughts?
I agree with both of you, and I loved when Tiara said, like, that to me is like slave culture. That's like labor. Absolutely not. And I don't care how much money you paying me. I do even understand, because I was put in a position recently where I agreed to a job because I could do some days remote. And then new leadership came in and they changed it. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, hold on. That's not what I originally agreed to, right? And so it was like, okay, so what are you going to do? And so I did stay for a minute, and as a matter of fact, still staying for a minute, but I'm just like, it's starting to get to me now because I appreciated my remote time as well. And like you said, my family comes first. I have to be able to know that on the weekends, like, that's a lot of nerve to just keep asking me to do that. And especially as Black folks, right? How many other responsibilities do we have?
Well, I'm glad you said that. Can I interject? Because I looked up and I wanted to see the ethnicity of Uber workers, and they have a high Caucasian workforce. So it's like 40 to 50% in their technical. And then it's like, it's only 9 to 10% Black and African American, and 6 to 14% Latino. So it looks like most of the majority of their Black workers are contractors as drivers. But in the culture that he's talking about, it is mainly white and Asian people. So I'm not going to, so I'm just going to hold off a little bit on that. So I'm not going to go.
Thank you for that, because and that's what I was going to ask too. Is it corporate? Like, who's sitting up there? But I also agree with you. Like, they like that. A lot of them like that stuff. Not me.
They're not happy at home. And so they're running for something. And so they're trying to project, I want you to work 24/7. Because when I worked and I was a manager, the person that was attacking me the worst was a older white lady that did not like the fact that, one, I was young, one, I was sitting in the same seat that she was sitting in, and she was always sending letters. She left early. I didn't leave early. Part of my job was to go in the field with my staff, just like she did all the time. And so when you think about it, it's often, people in those seats that, they're not happy. They don't want to go home. They don't have relationships with their families. And so this is what
money is important to them.
Yep.
More money is important to them. So that much money on the weekends to have my mind, my body, all of that, that's not important. That's not that important to me.
And can I interject this too? Because first of all, I don't understand why companies are so stuck on people coming back into the office. But this is what I came up with for that, right? Because first of all, you get more work done with your employees being at remote, because being at the office is a huge distraction. People don't do as much work when they come into the office. It is not about that. It's about cities. When you go into cities and people are working remote, you have a lot of real estate that is not being used. So they're losing money on real estate in urban areas when people don't come to work. You have businesses that have been attracted to the city because people are at work. So you've got restaurants, you've got clubs, you've got drugstores that are losing money when people don't get in their cars and drive into the city to go to work. So it's not necessarily about, we're building a culture where we can build together. No, it's about dollar bills. And cities invited those corporations in, giving them all these tax breaks, but you don't have people in the office coming in to rebuild our city and the economy of our city. So it's not about that. It's about money. It's always about money.
And I'm so glad you hit on that, because that's where I am, in one of the cities. And that's what we kept saying. That's what this is about. And it's also about politics, right? It's political as well. who funded some of your campaign, and now I need the people in those buildings working so that money is being produced for us. So 150%
So
correct.
So I have bringing it back to like I love what all of you have been saying. It's a lot to consider, and I agree with you because I was thinking, what is this about? Is this about productivity? Is it about control? What is it about? But it's about the money, and you're absolutely right. But let's take it back a little bit. What did you learn about work ethic? You know, when you were kind of growing up, how were you taught to work? Like, were you taught to work hard? Did you work hard in that sense? I'll start with you, Dominique. What did you learn about work ethic?
So you work hard, you have to prove yourself, you go above and beyond, you need to stand out, you stay at a job. Don't leave that job. I don't care what's happening. You stay at that job. So those are some of the things that were kind of programmed. And so you go into the workforce and you do these things like you just tolerate whatever, you know, because you need this good job. Those are some of the things that I was taught. And I really feel like those things are very toxic and scary. And it puts you in bad situations because I can think of, you know, jobs, especially being a nurse and being a new nurse. It's like the old, they ate the young. They did. And so there were very toxic situations. And you just think like, this is a good job. You know, I'm a registered nurse straight out of nursing school working in the ICU. You should be happy. You should be proud. Not many people get that opportunity, but then you're being mistreated and put in situations that are risky for you. So those are some of the things that I heard growing up. My dad stayed on his job and retired there for 30 something years. That's just what we were taught and what I saw.
Yeah, Dr. Felice, what were you taught about working hard and
So
what that could?
I agree with Dominique. You know, I had the OGs, right? That was enforcing a workforce on me. And don't get me wrong, I kind of bought into it. Like at 14, I had my first job. And I realized that if I showed up on time for something and then stayed and did what I was supposed to do, they was going to cut me a check. And maybe I was too young to get that check cut, but I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so I think I kind of like this. So you kind of buy into it. But also as an African-American female, I was also told that you're going to have to work twice as hard in order to just be in the seat, not even for recognition, but to be in the seat. And so that is a lot of stress. And I hated corporate America. I absolutely hated the corporate plantation. And I think it's a hazing environment. I think it can be a harassing environment. It's toxic. It breeds imposter syndrome. It breeds anxiety. It breeds stress. And then it got all these little programs that's all about shallow in nature. It's not real. So like DEI, when I was in corporate America, I used to complain all the time. Like DEI is just in word only. The only thing corporate America understands is green. And so they don't care whose green it is. DEI was because I want your green, not because I really believe in what it could stand for and what it can do and what it can really bring and change a corporation for. And so corporate America is just one big plantation that is designed to get rich off of the backs of humans. And we have got to be able to take our power back and say, no, enough. But guess what? This new generation, I think what's happening right now is that Uber is trying to force this Uber generation back into the OG kind of way of mine, because these kids are like, nah, you're not killing me. And these new kids on the block, they don't stay at a job more than 2 years. They like, I'm out. And so he's trying to force this new generation into an old system that I hope they stand up against and say, hell no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Dr. Angeline, have you ever felt burnt out in a position, and what were the circumstances? Like, was it because you were overworking? Because did you fall into I just got to work hard, I got to prove myself? Did you get into that? And what did you do about it? Like, how did you get out of it?
So I did fall into that. And I came from the same generation where you had to do all that. And for the love of God, don't have no good government job, because you better not leave that good government job, right? But I also think the beauty for me too is I had a lot of family members that were entrepreneurs, but it was trying to teach me that balance, right? Like, you still gonna have to work extra hard because now it's yours. But yes, I did get caught up one time in the whole burnout, working culture. And that, again, that did start happening in that healthcare Because then they were like, oh, so you like this? Okay, now we're gonna see. We want you to do this, and we want you to do. Oh, can you do this now? And I did have to eventually wind up leaving because I found that I wasn't caring for. When I saw that I wasn't caring for the people the way the people just deserve to be treated, I knew I was burned out. And I knew right then and there, that's not who you are. You're about community. You're about the people. You either gonna have to take some time off, you're gonna have to go to another department, or you just gonna have to find something else. So that's what I did do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go to this next video because I want to introduce another thought. I think she speaks to working hard. And I just, I feel like there's something about it's okay to work hard in your own, right? It's okay to invest that sweat equity into your own business. But, there's so much. I just feel like I see so many friends and family members like working their lives away when I really look at it. I have a friend now who I imagine he works 3 jobs. He averages maybe like 85 hours a week. It's just so much work. I was like, how do you even, so he can't sleep really. He doesn't spend time, and he's been doing this for years. And I'm always like, what about the quality of life? What about living? What about spending time with family members? There's no time to do anything else. So I just, I want,
big
I don't
old
believe.
shit on his employees. So he gets on CNBC to talk about these recent changes, right? The return to office policy is changing. Now it's 3 days, even for people who were hired remotely. Of course, not surprising. And he was also changing the benefits package, which included if you were working there for 5 years, you got a month off paid sabbatical. But that's now changing to 8 years. Of course, people were up in arms and they were just appalled at these changes, right? But what struck me about the interview is something that he says. He says, we're a company that works hard and we work hard together. Now, if I were an Uber employee, I'd think, what the fuck do you mean by that? Do you mean that we have not worked hard while working at home, not from an office? And considering that this is a rhetoric that's used by a lot of these CEOs, making changes to their return to office mandates, yeah, I think that's what he means. It's that you're not working hard while you're working from home. Now you'd say, okay, well, maybe that's the case, but it isn't the case because the numbers speak for themselves. The first profitable year ever for Uber was in 2023. They pulled in a whopping $1.9 billion in net profit, okay? Before then, net profitability was largely negative. 2024, we see a major increase in profitability. It goes up by $8 billion. They made $9.9 billion in net profitability. That's pretty good, right? For people who were working from home, who don't work as hard as they do in the office. Now, he says what every tech CEO says, which is, well, we can do better. We can always do better. And so that's why we need to make these changes. It's because we're doing good, but we can be better. But if every time the goalpost moves so that you as an employee of a major company gets the kind of relief from that hard work that you deserve, then is that fair? You would think that a company that is continuously doing better and is trending upwards would make changes that make their employees' lives easier, not harder. But that is not the corporate world we live in. No. And the numbers will never, ever allude to that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You're crunchy.
It's crunching sound.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but you're crunchy.
All right, Dominique. Fine. You can ask the questions. Go out and back in for the last time.
Okay. So Dr. Felice, what were your thoughts about the video? So for me, I do work from home for my full-time job. And I will say that I do get way more work done. I don't have the distractions of people coming into my office and knocking on the door and they want you to stop what you're doing to do something else. And you're in the middle of a project or whatever it is you're working on. I feel like working from home, you honestly do way more work. Sometimes I have to like say, no, Dominique, get up, take a break, take your lunch, because you're at home. So you're kind of comfortable. You get up, go to the bathroom, you come back, there's nobody here. What were your thoughts about the video?
I think she was spot on with a lot of things that she was saying. And one of the things that struck me the most was that she was saying their most profitable years were when people were working at home. And so now you're just getting greedy. Like now you're thinking, but really you're not thinking, because this is what I say all the time. You heard me say it before. I think greed puts blinders on people where you really can't see accurately, because how do you correlate you having a 1.9 billion to a 9 billion year with people coming back into the office? Like, where do you correlate that and see that that's what you need to do, unless that greed has become a blinder? And so it just really shows that we do come from a capitalistic society, which I'm not necessarily against. But one of the things that I think these CEOs have to remember is that we are Americans. Let that sit with you. We're Americans. Americans not going to work anyway, but so because we are so used to comfort and we're so used to amenities and we have so much. And the only reason why I say that, y'all, is because if you think about it, when I call places now, I get somebody from the Philippines. I get somebody from India. These people are very thankful for the jobs that they have, and the little that they don't have no benefits. They're not making a lot per hour. But when I tell you, when I call them, they greet me with a smile, even when I'm yelling at the top of my lungs because I don't know what they just said. They are extremely polite and grateful. But as Americans, this is a huge adjustment and shift to take Americans back to where they just got to be grateful to have a job. Like, that's not going to happen real easily. And that's where we're going. And for him and that CEO to say in the previous video that the job market is so really good right now, I'm like, when was this video taken? Like, do you not what job market is really good right now, that if your people left Uber, that they would be able to find another job just like that? Like, so I don't know if he's really disconnected from the real world, but we got to realize that we're not like everybody else in this country. And you can't, like, these people are going to be mentally affected if you force them back into this type of workforce.
Yeah. And when you think about all the you have way more entrepreneurs now and opportunities to become entrepreneurs. And so people are not so quick to just say, I'm gonna just stay here and just tolerate whatever. They're not doing it.
Can I say one thing real quick, Dominique?
Go ahead. I
don't think everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur.
Agree.
And so we need workers. Everybody can't be everybody can't be, because if everybody's a boss, who's gonna work for me? Like I'm serious. Everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. Yes, it's beautiful, but it is not for everyone. And we do need good workers who have work ethic, who take pride in what they do. But we got to be good to the people that we work. And we got to be real transparent and honest about what our capacity is as entrepreneurs, what I can really pay you, what I can do, and what that looks like. And so I just need to say that, because everybody, don't quit your jobs and say you're going to be an entrepreneur, because you're going to be broke and homeless, right? Yeah. And so we got to be real. Like, we need people to go to work, get a paycheck, clock in, clock out. Like, that's real too.
So I agree with that. So my comment is geared towards the people that are already thinking about it, or they already have something that they're doing on the side. So to be in a place where now you're changing the rules of engagement, you tell me, that you get to work from home, and then now, we're going to change that. And I also, when we're thinking about it from a CEO perspective, what about the real estate that it takes to bring all these people back into the business? It takes away from your bottom line. So it's just crazy to me. Dr. Angeline, what are your thoughts about the video?
So this is a true classic case of not just loving, it's the love of money, right? So like you said, greed, not about money. Money's cool, but this is about the love of money. Now, y'all, I'm tickled because I said to myself, Dr. Felice just told us that it's not us that they make and do that. So I said, if those other people want to keep doing that, welcome to enslavement, welcome to slavery, right? So you are meeting with your with your slave master, and you love it. And I'm not trying to be funny, but I sat here and thought, I wonder how they really are feeling doing this, because some of them, like you said, they can't afford to leave. They've gotten accustomed to a lifestyle. Their families have gotten accustomed to a lifestyle, and it kind of made me sick though, just hearing him say that, because it made me think about what our ancestors, that's the stuff they kept asking, right? And every time you reach the goalpost was moved. And that's what he's doing. It's that same slave master tactic, that same slave master mindset. But I was just laughing. I was like, well, good. Now it's their turn. At least it's not us so much this time. That's what I really thought about. So yeah, that's where I was with it. Because this is straight plantation.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about it, and with these type of expectations from the CEO, we know that it comes with burnout. So what does burnout actually look like for you all as individuals, Dr. Felice?
So burnout is real, and it leads and seeps into like compassion fatigue, where you lose. I think I heard one of y'all say, it might have been you, Ms. Dominique, where you were saying that you didn't have the capacity to be your best for the people you were called to serve. And that's what burnout looks like. Burnout looks like when you come to work, it's a got to, not a get to. And when you get to the point where you gotta go to work, you are not going to work in excellence. You are not going to go to work seeing those people as something of like that you're giving some service, because that's what our work is. It is service. And it's to make sure that someone is better, so that ultimately we live better lives, and that somebody gets some benefit from me showing up. And so when you can't be your best, when you are tired, when you are coming to work and you are literally fatigued, and y'all, I'm serious. This is the thing that I'm dealing with right now in my practice. People are overwhelmed and fatigued, and it's scaring them because they don't know how long they can really keep up this pace without succumbing to it. That is burnout. And y'all, I'm serious. Are y'all not hearing more and more stories of people having massive heart attacks?
And dying.
Like, people are literally, and it's it's not just burnout, it is prolonged burnout, where you are not getting a respite to give your body the rest that it truly needs in order to be able to meet the demands of your life. So that's what I tell people. You can do whatever it is you can really afford. But if you can't afford it, then you got to make a different choice. And what do I mean by afford it? Down the long road. Can you afford the health bills you're going to get? Because you've allowed some master to tell you how you was going to live your life and make your money. And we have got to get rid of this lifestyle culture, y'all, because it is killing people. So that you can have a cute picture in your bikini on some boat you don't own. You walking with me? And so I need people to kind of reframe lifestyle, because you are selling your soul for lifestyle. And can you afford it? Because you're not living long lives anymore. Your lives are being shortened. And what does that mean? You're never going to walk down the aisle with your daughter. Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to see the birth of a grandbaby, because you have sold your soul for lifestyle or money or the hustle or the grind. And I don't know, is it really worth it? So that's where I'm at.
Dr. Felice, that was spot on, like spot on. So for me, when I think about burnout, and I'm just thinking about when I was in those situations, like it causes a physical reaction. Like I will think about the job, or it's time to go to work, and I will be nauseous. And then it got to the point where I shut down. And so I couldn't even perform well because I shut down. There was one time that I was so overworked that I was having palpitations, because I was so stressed and overworked. You're not going to have a productive employee when they're in that space, right? And so how do you become productive when you're so overwhelmed that you shut down, or you're walking into this place and you're just so over it and just so burnt out that you're nauseous. So those are some of the things that I think about, or things that happened to me when I felt, like I was burned out.
And think about this, y'all. You're going to wind up causing more harm in a burnout stage. So think about professionals. Like, we watch all these shows, like I Love the Pit. But I'm like, somebody somewhere along the way is going to slip up and make a major mistake. So the people that you think you want to help, you're going to actually do harm, because you do more harm when you don't take care of yourself first. And so, and I think, I'm serious, y'all, think about all the mishaps that we're hearing all the way around the news. I think that probably attributes a lot to it, to overwhelm and burnout. People are missing things. They're getting sloppy. They're getting, they're not detailed anymore, oriented. Things are slipping by. And what does that mean? A life is on the edge of burnout. Like, we got to stop it.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's also think about those, because glad you said that too, about getting nauseous and all of that. I remember when my grandmother transitioned and I had to go back to work, and the people, my supervisors, they just kept coming and coming and coming. And I said, Lord, if I don't get up out of this place, I might be in jail. So it wasn't even the mistakes of somebody else. It was like, I might snap up in here because I don't need to be here. And so I just remember, I said, you know what? I'm going to do like they do. I'm going out on disability. Got my little doctor to write my little note. And I went out. But when I walked out that door, I said, I'm never coming back. And I didn't. And I just was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm sick of it. I've had it. Enough is enough. And yeah, so you made me think about that because it was not going to be a good situation at all.
And that's when people are coming back to work, shooting up folk. You know what I mean? Seriously, because somebody pushed them to the limit. And people's mental health is on the fringe, y'all. Like, people are not coping. And I need people to be wise. I need you to be wise about the climate that we're in right now. You can't afford to be greedy. You cannot afford to be greedy. You got people killing CEOs. Like, we cannot afford to be greedy. People are not the same. Yes. And so we've got to come back, and we've got to make it about people. We have got to let people know that we care about you, and that we know that when we allow you to show up in your best, you're going to give me your best. And that's what we got to get back to.
Yeah, no, that's so true too. Even with the, I thought about when you even talking, what you're talking about, Dr. Felice. I have a friend right now, situations have happened, right? And thank God I was able to say, come stay at my house for a month. You don't have to go to work. That girl was about to lose her mind. I could see it. It was all over her. I could see it. And so it was just like, wow. But now even, okay, like now it's time for you to go back to work. And the hesitation, the fear, all of these things. I don't know if I can do it. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, sis, you can do it now. I can't take care of you forever, right? But that type of thing, right? But and having that compassion. And that was me who was saying I had to leave my job because I knew my purpose wasn't being fulfilled, and my purpose was the people. So it's scary out here right now. It's scary out here. It's real talk.
Yeah, agreed. So I'm gonna go to some of the comments. So let me see here. Let me see. So the customer won't want the impossible and are obnoxious. And then Arnold Walls 6831 says, that's exactly why I stopped selling cars. You can be at dinner, you can be on a dinner date, and sure enough, someone's asking you about a car. Set appointment and be no show, shaking my head. Deborah Will Win says, yes, we have to take back our human power. We are not robots. Arnold O'Walls 6831 says, a burnout culture. So these are some of the things, like, we all know that this stuff creates, burnout, and there's no way that you're going to be able to sustain that. I think we have another video. I think
I don't feel like fighting. I know y'all like to tussle, but please stop making that job your life. Stop making that 8 to 4, that 9 to 5 your life. Like, if it's the first thing that you do in the morning and the last thing that you do at night, you're gonna be depressed. You're going to be depressed. Like, for me, I like slow mornings. So I like to wake up in the morning, listen to some music, watch some TV a little bit, maybe watch a sermon, drink some coffee, make my breakfast. I like that kind of stuff in the morning. I don't jump out of bed and I don't go straight to work. Like, I don't like rush mornings like that. And then when I get off, I don't get home and I don't just get in the shower, lay down, and no, I barely watch TV anymore because I like to go to the gym. I like to go run now, or I like to do an activity, because if you let it, your job will drain the living daylight out of you. Like, your job will drain and suck the life out of you if you let it. But we're not going to let that happen, because in the morning time, you should at least do something for yourself before you clock in. And when you clock out, you should do something for yourself as well. And no, laying down watching TV is not doing something for yourself. That's just, it's going to just create a never-ending cycle of clocking in, going home, getting in the shower, get on the couch, going to sleep, doing the same thing on repeat. But if you make those small changes throughout the week and live for the week and not just the weekend, your life is going to change. And I have this coworker who does not take a break to save her life. Like, she's like, oh my gosh, I got to get it done. What? Wait, we got 2 15-minute breaks and an hour lunch, and you can't take a break? For what? Like, that always baffles me. Like, what do you mean you can't take a break? Go enjoy some vitamin D. Go out for a walk. Like, if you don't have the resources to at least step away after work, or if you don't have money or like the motivation to do something for yourself after work, do it on the clock. Like, like, step out away from your desk, because right now I'm making this TikTok video on my 15-minute break.
So I thoroughly enjoy what she said. I've gotten to the point where, like, I like slow mornings. You know, I want to get up and I want to go to the gym. I'm not just hopping on the computer, you know, to see what's going on. This is their company. This stuff will be here. If something happens to me, they're going to replace me tomorrow. So I make it a priority to prioritize myself. When I'm off at 5, I'm off at 5. And even when it comes to my business, I don't mind working like crazy, you know, but I also pay attention to my body. If my body is telling me that I'm tired, like, even sometimes in the morning, like, I'm in the gym at 6 in the morning. So if I feel tired, I'm not going in that morning. I may have to go in the evening, but I'm learning to pivot and pay attention to my body. But it's also, you know, when it comes to the job, not making these jobs a priority over yourself, because you are replaceable. Before they bury you, they've already posted your job, and we have to think about that. Dr. Angeline, what were your thoughts about that video?
Same. I'm that girl that like to sleep a little bit later in the morning, and I get mad when I can't. And right now, y'all, I can't. So that is why when I do get off at 5, I do go home and I work just as hard on my own stuff, right? Like, nah, girl, come on. You got a deadline that you want to launch, and not just launch, but you're already launched, but be out, right? What are you building so that investors can also maybe invest in you? How are you doing this? You cannot give them 8 hours and at least not give yourself, put that much time in for yourself. But again, with you, when my body says stop, yep, that shower and that bed become my best friend. I don't even care if I'm not asleep. I just to lay across the bed or whatever. And I like what she said too. Like, I make plans with friends and stuff like that as well during the week. So it's not just all about, it's about the whole balance. That's what we're all have been talking about here. It's about balance, and self-care is my best friend, and nobody has to teach me that. I know that very, very well. So I'm with her. Yes.
Yeah. And she said taking her breaks and her lunch, but let's take it a step further. Using your PTO. Taking time off of work as well. They're giving you this time, away, paid. Take it. Take advantage of that. Dr. Felice, what were your thoughts about the video?
I think it's really good. Like, I tell my clients, like, I call out if I don't do my centering in the morning. Like, I have to do it. Like, that's the first thing that I do is get still. And I anchor myself so that I can be able to manage the stresses of my day. I mean, think about it. I'm listening to people's toughest moments, thoughts, and feelings all day long. I have got to pour back into me before I can even show up for the people that I'm called to serve. And so I have to do my centering. And I notice a difference, and it's something that I require and suggest for all of my clients before you do anything, because it is so important about how you start your day. Because like that girl said, when you start your day right out the gate, your day goes like that, and it's hard to reel it in. It's hard for you to kind of get on top of it when out the gate you hop out of bed and you like that. But when you are intentional about getting still, about pouring into you first thing in the morning, your day will flow like that as well. And so it's very important to anchor yourself before you start your day and be intentional about it. So I'm huge on that. Kudos to her for being so young and figuring that out, and for sharing it with her audience. Like, that was big.
Yeah. I also want to say too, though, think about that. This is America. When I go talk to my cousins in Germany and overseas, their whole culture is so different. The whole company shuts down at a certain amount of time. You can go take a nap. You can do like, they understand that. It's not, I find that it is mainly here that we are socially conditioned to believe that this is what we're supposed to be doing, right? Working for somebody else most oftentimes, and not taking care of ourselves, not call, I don't want to call out. I don't want to use my sick. I can't stand it when they come in here sick. I'm like, you got a sick day. Why would you come in here sick? That it just doesn't make sense. So I also think that it's a reconditioning for a lot of us that also has to happen and take place.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think some people with young children taking a vacation, it's like it's between taking off with my child or taking off from me. And so with young children, that's another piece that, we have to think about too, taking the time for yourself and also taking the time for your child as well. I think we have some stats. Companies with strong work-life balance policies have higher retention rates and better performance overall. Studies show that working more than 50 hours a week reduces productivity, not increase it. I agree with that. Black professionals are more likely to report feeling they must code switch and overperform to maintain job security. Last one. Over 50% of professionals check email on weekends, even when it's not required. Yep. Nearly 77% of employees report experiencing burnout at their current job. Yep. You hear people talk about this stuff all the time.
That number is too high. 77%? That's high.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to unlearn and relearn. We have to reprogram our brain. And this is my, a question that I have for you guys. We're closing out soon, but do you really think that, when you're thinking about people that want to climb the corporate ladder, right? Do you think that you can truly be successful and rest? When you think about those people in CEO positions or people, in the C-suites, do you really think that you can rest and be successful, Dr. Angeline?
I think we need to define success for each of us. Success means something different for all of us, right? But for me, if I lose my peace, I don't win. So yeah. I know what success means for me. I know what I value and what I don't value. So that, again, helps me create my boundaries. So but like I said, success means something different for everybody.
Okay. Dr. Felice?
I think that if you want to climb another CEO's ladder, then you have to do it on their terms. And if he is requiring that you get no rest, then you can't have rest in order to climb the ladder in his company. And so you just have.
Uh-oh, I think she froze.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. There you go.
So no, I don't think people who want to climb the corporate ladder in this particular company that they are choosing to work for, no, I don't think that they can really rest. Not at all.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you. If you're trying to get to a certain point in somebody else's company and they have these expectations, it's going to be hard to rest because you can be in the middle of something and they say they want something done and you have to drop it and do what they say do. So I think it's really hard when you're climbing that corporate ladder to really get rest or be on vacation.
And think about it too. The movies, the culture glorifies that, right? Like you look like the big man on campus, you're glorified when you're able to sacrifice your life, your time to achieve more money, more success, more notoriety, authority. Like it's glorified, in everywhere around our culture. And so who doesn't want glory? You know what I mean? And so that is another thing that people wrestle with too. And, it's hard to judge when that's what we grow up in. That's what we know.
Yeah. So before we are going to start winding down, but before we wind down, we are going to talk about our Women's History Month fact. So today we are talking about Miss Lisa Price. She started making hair care products in her Brooklyn kitchen in the 1990s, naming the brand Carol's Daughter after her mother. She sold the product at flea markets and local events, building a loyal customer base through word of mouth. As demand grew, the business expanded into retail stores and major partnerships. Years later, she sold Carol's Daughter to L'Oreal in a multi-million-dollar deal, turning a small homemade operation into a nationally recognized brand. Good stuff. So as we close out, Dr. Angeline, give us your final thoughts and let the people know where they can find you.
Sure. So thank you. This was a great and on time discussion for real. I just had 2 people under the age of 60 literally drop dead found. So yes, this is a on time and hit the heart type conversation right now going on. I would just say, people, listen. If you're just pay attention to what we've been socially conditioned to do, especially as Black people. Is it really worth it? Count up the cost. Is it really worth it? If it is, hey, I wish you the best. But I had to learn too that I'm not going to put all this much time in somebody else's dreams when I have my own. And so on that note, I am Dr. Angeline Dean, CEO of Melanated Neurons Communiverse, an identity affirming STEM subscription for children ages 7 through 12. And I can be found, you see my website. So it's right there.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Angeline. So my final thoughts are, you have to have boundaries and you have to make sure that you make yourself a priority, especially, and not even just for other people, but the important things are yourself, your family. Those things are important. These jobs literally will replace you and have your job posted before you are in the ground good. So make yourself a priority. Take your breaks, take your lunch, take your PTO. So again, I'm Dominique Morgan. I'm the co-founder of the Whitmore Group, where we exist to educate, empower, and equip individuals and businesses to build wealth through real estate. We can help you purchase throughout the United States. And if you are looking to follow us, you can go to all our social media websites at thewhitmoregroup.com. And then also you can go to our website at thewhitmoregroup.com, but we are on social media at the Whitmore Group. And so as we end this conversation, at the end of the day, money is important, but your time, your health, and your peace matter too. A job will replace you in a week. Your family, your body, and your mind don't recover that fast. So the real question is not just how much you make, but what it costs you to make it. Make sure you're building a life, not just funding one. This is the Fly Nubian Money, and we're here to help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Until next time.